Welcome to my WOW Chats, words of wisdom with people I admire and respect and whose work is in line with making this world a better place.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And today we have Keith Meldrum, a fellow Canuck.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. So we're at the San Diego Pain Summit. Well, it just ended.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about the whole summit and just
It was amazing.
over? Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible to see that many people who are all focused in on doing the same thing, which is about helping people live better with pain, and as clinicians and practitioners, what they can do to help.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do this WOW Chat with you because, I mean, this was the first time we've met. But there is something about you, like I just really, your warmth is really contagious, and I just felt really, the first time even when we met and we said hello, you have a lot of kindness.
Oh, wow, thanks.
Yeah, I felt that, and wisdom. And that's why I have you on not to put any pressure on you.
No, okay, yeah, not at all. So.
But no, I just, some people just have this awareness, and I was like, oh man, he's the real deal. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, yeah, you're welcome. Well, thank you. So what I wanted to ask you, and hopefully, you can share with other people, and maybe they can learn something from your words, was what you said yesterday. You were on the patient panel, and I know you don't like that word patient.
Exactly.
So maybe
that's
we can talk about that. But you were on the patient panel, and there was one thing that you said I would like you to elaborate on, and you can take as much time as you need to provide context. So you had said that two things in your life, there were two things that transformed your life.
The sort of defining moments of my
The
life.
two defining moments of your life.
Yeah.
And can you just explain what those were and some context behind?
Yeah. Well, I think the one is easier to explain with context is the day I got married.
The day you got married?
Yeah, that's certainly a defining moment, and one of the days I will remember forever. And then the other, as it relates to my pain experience, which is a result of a car accident I had when I was 16. It was a pretty traumatic car accident which nearly killed me. Then that led to 20 years of just ineffective interactions with the medical system for pain control, which came as a result after having multiple surgeries after the car accident, then being left with this chronic pain, which my accident was in 1986, so the healthcare system was really not at all in this space that we see now.
1986.
86,
Okay.
August 10th, 1986, about 7:30 in the morning. Not that I have that moment burned in my memory, but it was pretty traumatic. I mean, I was torn in half by a seatbelt. I was alone at the bottom of a bank where I rolled my car down. I was bleeding to death. And I tell this part of the story not sort of to be into hysterics, but when I had my accident, I was 16. I was lying there, bleeding out internally, and I knew I was dying. And I would love to say I was sort of this brave and fighter and all. I prayed to God to die. The pain was beyond anything I can ever describe, and I didn't want to live anymore. It was so bad. I was looking to die to end the pain. So that's also a defining moment in my life, but I try not to let it be a leading defining moment in my life. So that was the introduction into multiple surgeries and just lots of problems, but a healthcare system that didn't know how to deal with this chronic pain that came as a result of that. So from 86 to 2004, it was in and out of hospitals and different medical interventions, but nothing would make the pain go away. And that's what I was looking for, was the pain to stop. Because I didn't understand that pain could last, that there was such a thing as chronic or persistent pain. And any of the doctors or clinicians that I dealt with were, well, we'll try this and this will make you better. And then when it didn't work, they're like, well, we've done all we can do. I guess it's really up to you to figure it out. So in 2004, I was referred to an interventional pain clinic in Vancouver, British Columbia. And that was the first time that somebody really connected with me. And the other defining moment of my life was sitting there at the intake for the pain program. And the intake doctor who was filling out the forms stopped partway through the interview and just looked at me and said just these simple words that are burned in my brain. It's okay, we believe you.
It's
okay, we believe you.
It's okay, we believe you. And he stopped his...
He stopped. Like, he was sitting there, I was sitting here, he was filling out the form
asking
like
you
I've done a
questions
billion
and-
times, and you go through your medical history by rote at that point in your life. And he must have picked up on just sort of my body language and just the way I was just sort of reciting it again. And I realized he'd stopped, and I was sort of, uh-oh. And when I looked at him, that's when he just said, it's okay, we believe you. And
Wow.
it was walls that I had built up over the years of anger, and a lot of anger, I think started to come down at that point. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it was, it's a pretty powerful moment in my life. And that was what
And it's so
turned me.
simple.
It is, yeah. That's what
Like-
we talk about, the validation of people's experience.
Yeah,
That underscored
yeah.
for me.
So that, so with people listening, what would you say, kind of recapping that, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it seems sort of obvious, but like just for people in pain and also healthcare providers, you have some words of wisdom then based on that.
I think the biggest thing, if we look at healthcare providers, is we understand that people who live with pain, it's a complex medical issue, and really, I mean, we're a complex patient, for lack of a better term, because there's so much involved in it. And to expect that one clinician or practitioner or doctor has all the answers is not realistic.
Right.
And I think they owe it to themselves to realize that they don't have all the answers. And it's okay for them to say, look, I don't know, but, and work with the person, integrate them into their health care, and say, let's try this or look at that. It's also, I believe, beholden upon healthcare practitioners to educate themselves about the complexities of chronic pain.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
If they don't know what the answers are, I mean, doctors and nurses and clinicians and manual therapists take a lot of education. Part of that education should be about pain and what's outside of their knowledge area. Where can they refer people or turn them to? Because what I got was, I can't help you, so there's nothing more that can be done.
Right. Yeah. And we need to keep learning, and learning from people in pain is really valuable. Like, this is part of it. Like learning about the complexity and the science surrounding pain is, of course, really valuable, and I think required, but also, like this part, like this is part of the pain education.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk about, and there's lots of terms thrown around, and that's the way we communicate is through words, but we talk about the therapeutic alliance or the patient-practitioner relationship. Those are important terms. A lot of my healthcare, for the first 20 years, I refer to as I was treated to and not treated with. I was simply another case, whether I was a surgical case or a pain intervention case, but I almost felt like I really didn't need to be present in the room. All they needed was my file and my history. And they're like, okay, this is what we're going to do for you. Nobody ever really talked. They didn't ask me about my life or how did it make me feel. I mean, I would get, what's your pain on a 1 to 10 scale, which is completely have no value whatsoever. Because I relate that on that 1 to 10 scale, which I believe we're starting to learn is not valuable. If 10 is the worst pain you've ever had, for me 10 is the day I was dying and wanted to die. So nothing can ever be worse than a 10. So everything will be a 2 or I don't even know how to use that.
Yeah.
So talk to people about their life and their experiences and how they
Right.
feel. Yeah. So,
And then for people in pain, the last few seconds here for people in pain, what would you...
be active.
Be active.
We have a responsibility. We can't just look to the practitioners to be the problem solvers. We have to learn, understand the complexities of pain, and we have a responsibility in things like self-management.
Right, it's a team.
Yeah, it is 100%.
Thank you for your time. This has been a long weekend for both of us.
Yes, it has.
And I know you're exhausted, and we're about to get on our planes and come back to Canada.
Yes.
So, Keith Meldrum, words of wisdom. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelly.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this WOW Chat with Keith Meldrum. Keith highly recommends the resources from Pain BC. I will leave those links below, as well as resources from Pain Care U. And check out some of my other WOW chats with other people I admire and respect and whose work is in line with making this world a better place.